Welcome to Early Access. I'm Katie Whitlock. I'm here with my friend Ben. Ben, it's lovely to have you on.
Hello, my friend Katie. It's great to be here.
So Ben and I are real life friends. Sometimes I have people I have never met in real life on, and sometimes I get to talk to people I do know in real life. So Ben and I were in Suzanne Stabile's cohort together 2 years ago now. That was 2024. So if you have ever heard me talk about anything ever, anywhere, you've heard me talk about the fact that my Enneagram journey kind of started in Suzanne Stabile's cohort. For anyone who doesn't know, Suzanne Stabile, first of all, if you've been under a rock, Suzanne Stabile is an Enneagram teacher, very, very famous Enneagram teacher. And she puts on cohorts every year, which is a group of 40 people that she picks from however many applications they get every year. And you go 4 times a year. So it's one calendar year. You go about once a quarter. And it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You sit in a room with her and 39 other people, and you learn about the Enneagram. So Ben and I were doing that 2 years ago. What made you, I don't know if I've ever asked you this, what made you sign up for that cohort? Because was that your first one that you had done?
That was my first one. Yeah. It was like accumulation of a lot of things. I had been aware of, I read The Road Back to You like, 10 years ago. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had known about Suzanne and like listened to the podcast and yada yada for a long time. And I knew about her cohort. I had like seen it online, and I had for years like considered applying to it because it just seemed really interesting to me. And I would like every year I'd like go on the website, like the application would come out, I would fill it out, and then I would just like close the window.
You never
I would
actually
talk myself
applied.
Out of it. Never actually applied.
Right. And what number are you again?
Yeah, right. Spoiler alert. And so then I was just going through like a difficult time. I'd reached out to a friend and just to like kind of seek some guidance. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a mutual friend of Suzanne, and he was like, so Suzanne has this like cohort thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm aware of it.
No, I know.
He's like, maybe you should do that. And I was like, okay, fine. So I like fill out the application. I'm like, whatever, I'm probably not going to get in. Like, I'll just apply, whatever. So like submit my application, and then had a Zoom interview with Suzanne, and she like pops up on the screen, and immediately I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to be in a room with this person. Like, I need to just
Literally.
like learn everything. Like, she, even in just like a 5-minute interview, she just like saw straight to like my core. And then at the end of the interview, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get in? Like, it is going to be excruciating. And so fortunately I did get in. Yeah. And so I got in and I went, and it was so scary. I didn't, know anybody there. I had never met Suzanne. I live in Florida, so like it was a long way for me to get to Texas. And it was, as you know, like the most incredible, magical experience of my life. So incredibly grateful for it.
So talk a little bit about, what were you scared of? Was it specific things, or was it just vague, like, I'm scared?
Yeah, both. Yes, and there's a lot of just like vague fear about just like being somewhere new, and like I'm at like going to some building that I don't know, like what is the Micah Center? Like that sounds intimidating. I don't know, like what even is this group going to be? I've never been a part of anything like this, and like who are these people going to be? Like I'm going to be in this room alone, and I think because of how much trust Suzanne and I built in that short interview, like I was really relying on that as being like, I don't know what else is going to happen, but like I trust her, and that's enough to get me to Texas and get me in the room. And then all those fears disappeared very quickly. That first check-in, like the first day, everyone goes around, introduces themselves, and who are you, where are you from, what do you do, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And we're going around the room, and like everyone in the room, with the exception of like me and you and a couple others, is like a therapist, a life coach, like does this kind of work like somewhat professionally. And I'm like as everyone's going around saying that, I'm like in my chair like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Like, I do not belong here. I'm a dentist. Like, why why am I here? And at the first break after the introduction started, Suzanne came and grabbed me and she pulled me into the kitchen, which is like kind of like a little private room there, and just like really affirmed her choice and like me being there and like how much she wanted me there and how glad she was I was there. And like again, she just
That's
like
sweet.
laser beam saw through like my imposter syndrome and like everything that like all my anxiety was coming up and just like cut through it and was like, no, you are supposed to be here. Like you're here for a reason, all that. And then like I started to meet all those other people in the room and I was like, no, I do belong here. Like these are the kind of people that I want to be with, and like made some really incredible friends that I'm still very close with.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know if that happens in all cohorts. I don't know if it happens in all of Suzanne's cohorts, but I still meet with some of those people bi-weekly on Zoom on Wednesday mornings, right? Like I know you still text some people multiple times a week, right? You and my mother are very close. Like all the So I don't know how normal it is for a cohort to be that close, but we all became very, very, very close.
Yep.
So if anyone's thinking about doing it, you should do it.
Yes, this was just a short commercial for the
for the cohort program.
Suzanne Stabile cohort program.
I know. I feel like every time I go anywhere, I'm like, you should go work with them. I had someone, Jeff Cook of Around the Circle and I do a monthly Zoom workshop where we just talk about, Enneagram stuff, whatever we're talking about that month. And I had someone message me last time and she was like, you told me to apply for Joey Shuey's cohort and I did and I got in. And I go next weekend or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be so fun. So
it's the best. It really is the best.
It's the best. It really is the best. So you did that one and then you and I split the next year. So you did Joe's, what's it called? Contemplative something?
The Enneagram and Contemplative Spirituality. And that's Joe Stabile and Hunter Mobley teach that one.
Yeah. And then I went to Joey Shuey and Billy Shuey's cohort, which everyone knows about that. I've talked about that a million times. Can you talk about Hunter a little bit? Do you know Hunter's background? I don't know Hunter's background.
Hunter is the best. He came to the Enneagram and like this Enneagram worked through Suzanne, obviously. He was one of her apprentices, I believe, like back when she did the apprenticeship program.
Yeah, she used to have, for anyone who doesn't know, Suzanne used to have like a 3-year program that you could sign up for. So instead of just 1 year, it was 3 years and they called it the apprenticeship program. Like
we tried to get her to bring it back, but
I know, she says no. Sad. Anyway, all right, keep going.
He also used to be a pastor. And so that's kind of where he and Joe overlap, I think. And so basically in that cohort, Hunter teaches a lot of the Enneagram stuff. Joe teaches a lot of the contemplative spirituality, and they kind of overlap those things and mesh them together into how do we kind of merge those things into one. And Hunter also has a book that came out last year that I think is a really good combination of those things as well. If you're looking for maybe a resource for that. But Hunter's great. He letting go, finding you, maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hunter. Yeah. I don't want to screw up the title.
We'll link it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's letting go, finding you, or something very similar to that.
Yeah.
Hunter Mobley. It's a great book, and Hunter's a 2, and I think has some really good perspectives on the Enneagram that everyone should go receive from him.
So to talk about you, we've talked about the cohort. That was enough of a commercial.
Yeah.
To talk about you, when you first picked up the Enneagram, did you know you were a 6 right away? I always ask people this question because it took me so long to figure out my number. I'm always interested. Did you know right away, or did it take you a while?
I knew pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is interesting for 6s because actually not a lot of 6s know right away. So what were the things?
I was reading The Road Back to You, and I would like read each one and be like, oh, I could maybe see myself being like one. Felt really, I'm reading 1 and I'm like, yeah, I have like an inner dialogue, like inner voice, maybe I'm a 1. Like reading 2, it's like all about caring about people. I'm like, what? I do care about people.
Right.
Like I can kind of like I spend a lot of time in 3. So like I could see myself as a, I can kind of like form myself into most of them. I read 7 and I was like, no, that's definitely not me. 8, I'm like,
Absolutely
no,
not.
that's definitely not me. And then like reading 6, I felt like I was just gonna like throw up, like it's that like visceral, like
Yes.
knowing and feeling seen and like putting words to things that I like words that I never could have articulated on my own. And then I read them and it's just like someone has punched me right in the gut.
Yes.
And so I said, yep, I'm a 6. I
Do
have
you
been
remember?
pretty steady in my 6ness, although there are, I know like it's so stereotypical 6 to be like, wait, am I a 6? So I do that occasionally, but I try to keep it to a minimum.
Yeah. Do you remember the things that you were reading that made you say, oh, like, I'm going to throw up. This is definitely me?
I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was, I mean, most of it was just around fear and anxiety.
Mm. And so you knew that you were fearful and you knew that you were anxious.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting because would you, there's this whole talk about phobic versus counterphobic with 6s, right? And the talk used to be you are either a phobic 6 or a counterphobic 6, which for anybody listening who doesn't know, 6s are built off of fear, right? And they're trying to predict what's coming, basically. And they're looking for certainty. And there are 2 ways to react to that. Phobic is the word for I don't know what's coming. I'm scared. To put it very, very plainly, almost to the point where it's kind of not true. But counterphobic is I don't know what's coming. I'm going to grab the bull by the horns and wrestle it to the ground so that I don't have to be scared. Right. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's this whole half of 6s that do not know that they are built off of fear, and they don't know that they're anxious people, or they don't know that their anxiety is connected to this fear of not knowing what's coming and not being certain. Because they feel very certain, right? Because they've prepped for everything. Why wouldn't I be certain? And honestly, those are the 6s that mistype. Like when I meet someone who I'm like, oh, you're definitely a 6 and you just don't know it, they're almost always more counterphobic. Mm-hmm. So would you put yourself more on the phobic side or the counterphobic side? Do you even do that? Like,
not, I feel like I move all over the place. I think it's very situational for me.
Yeah.
I think, like, I do think some people can land, like other 6s that I interact with, like, I can read them as being like very phobic or very counterphobic. And I don't really see myself as being at really either extreme. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, and I probably dabble on both sides of the line there. I agree with the like mistyping counterphobic 6s, I think is very common.
Are there any patterns to when you feel more phobic / what are you feeling when you're feeling more phobic versus are there any patterns to when you are feeling more counterphobic? Does that question make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, do you see patterns in your life that put you on kind of either end of the spectrum?
Yeah, I think like when action is required, like I tend to move in a more counterphobic direction. And sometimes that gets in my mind like tangled up with my move to 3 also, but it almost feels like a synchronized move of like I've got to get to 3, take some action and move. And like also that's going to require some counterphobic energy as well, because like I can't let this fear paralyze me and keep me where I am. And so those are like separate things, but like for me feel like they are related. Does that make sense?
It does. Tell people about tell people a little more about what you do so that because I'm going to ask you a question about your job and I want people to know what you do.
Okay. I'm a dentist, a general dentist. So I do like, like when you go get your teeth cleaned and the hygienist cleans your teeth and then I come in and look at them. And then if you need a filling or a crown or tooth removed or whatever, I kind of do all of that kind of stuff. I own my own practice with my brother as my partner. And so that is like on top of being a dentist, also like a small business owner. So I have a team of employees that I manage and run an office as well.
Do you know what number your brother is, by the way, while we're there?
He's a 7.
He's 7. Okay, fun.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if, I think Joey came into our cohort and taught this too. So you might remember what I'm talking about. But one of the things that Joey taught us during her cohort was that sixes, if they feel prepared and they feel like they have enough information, they will be more counterphobic. If they feel like they don't have enough information, then they will go phobic. And that just depends on the situation, exactly like you said, right? So I'm wondering if at work, where you are the boss, you own this business, you are in charge of these people, if it is easier for you to be more counterphobic, or if that's just something you know that's expected of you, so you kind of have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, do you second guess yourself as a boss a lot? Or is it easier for you to just be like, no, I know what I'm talking about because I've been to school and I own my business and blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it has changed over the years. Like the longer I've done it, and that's kind of what you're saying, like the more information I have, like the more experience I have, the more I can trust myself to like do it. And there's also like I wear so many different hats at work. And so like that also changes too, depending on like what role I'm in. Like as a clinician, I trust myself like a lot more. And I can make decisions very quickly for my patients. And like I trust myself to make good decisions for them and to like do things well and take good care of people. Like that feels easier to me.
Yeah.
When I switch into my like manager type of role, that is more challenging. And I think because it's more emotional, because I'm like managing people and like I want to make sure my staff is being treated well, and like doing that, like that kind of side of my job is a little bit more, I think it's just more like maybe I'm more phobic there. It's just it's more challenging, and it feels less clear cut of like where the right answer is all the time.
Right. Is there a right answer when it comes to people?
No. Yeah, maybe that's the hard thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering, so what I'm hearing there is this idea that sixes start in the head, which means that they start in planning and information and objectivity and all this stuff. But what makes you feel okay, or the metric by which you gauge if you have done the right thing, is other people. Like you process and feeling is Joey Shuey's language for that, right? So sixes start in the head, but then they switch over into the heart to process. And so you are looking at other people to see, have I done the right thing, right? Like, do you feel okay? And I'm wondering, is the clinical part easier because there's just like a way to take care of someone's teeth, like logically, like there are steps to do and you know how to do them? And that's how you take care of people. Whereas what I hear you saying with the people, there is no right answer, right? I don't know if I'm doing the right thing managing these people. Is that true at all? Like, does teeth feel more clean cut to you?
Maybe so. Maybe so. And like, I also just feel, I mean, so much of six is like where we do and don't trust ourselves, and like being able to like see yourself as an authority or like the decider is like a challenge, I think, for sixes in general. Like when it comes to like being a clinician though, like I don't know, like people come in all the time and like they think, like patients come in, they think they have it figured out, and like they want to tell me what's going on and what's going to happen and how to fix it and like whatever, you know, they've Googled it, and so like they've solved it, you know. And like for me in that situation, it's very easy for me to be like, no, actually, no, this is what's happening. And like, this is what we're going to do. And like, I'm going to help you like solve this problem that you're having. But like, it's not what you Googled. Like, so like, let's just put that to the side and like, let's come up with the actual solution. And I think it's like, I don't have a hard time trusting myself in that situation, because that's what I do all day, every day. That's what I've been trained to do. And like, I have experience doing it. And like, I know what works and what doesn't, you know, like, not 100% of the time, but like generally speaking. And like you said, managing people is just, it's much less of a science, and it's more of just, it's more gray and unpredictable and harder to control. I think
Yeah.
sixes, Suzanne, I was having a private conversation with Suzanne Stabile once, and she's like talking and she like puts her hand up so that like she can't see my face. Like her hand is between me and her.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't look at you when I say this. Yeah, exactly. I can't look at you when I say this, but sixes are one of the most controlling numbers. Like talking about
Oh,
how much sixes.
absolutely.
And I was like, oh, I know. Like
You
I'm
were
like,
like,
you're not
no,
telling me
that's
anything I
not
don't
news.
know.
Where
Like
do
I
you
am very controlling.
talk about where that comes from? Actually, you know what? I'd love to talk about. Well, first of all, I'd love to know where that comes from. I do want to ask that question. But
Okay.
also, I want you to talk about what you are trying to control. Because I think people see 3, 7, and 8s as controlling sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with Suzanne, and Joey would say that too. Actually, 1, 2s, and 6s often come across as the most controlling numbers and are the
Yeah.
most controlling numbers. And I think it's
Yeah,
because we're trying to control different things,
I agree.
which I will talk about in a minute. But I'd love to hear your take on why like where that comes from, that need for control, and what are you trying to control? Like what are you trying to put in order or have go your way or whatever, right?
Yep. Well, I mean, like everything, it comes back to safety and security, and like that's what I'm trying to accomplish with my control is like the more things that are within my control, the less unknown, the less variables, like fewer variables. Like there's not as much that like if I'm controlling everything, then it's not that nothing can go wrong, but like I'll at least like be aware of it and like have
Less.
a hand on it. Yeah.
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 Less will go wrong.
And right. Which is like not factually true, but like that's what that's what it feels
Right.
like.
Yes.
I think, trying to control people and their I want to control people's reactions and like how people feel, which to say out loud is like logically not possible. Like I can't control
Right.
other people's feelings and I can't control like what they do with those feelings. But I find myself attempting to do that. Like I will read someone's feelings, like or what I think is like the external indicators of whatever they're feeling, and like subconsciously realize like I don't like that and I want to manipulate that into something else because I don't want that person to be angry at me or whatever. And so then I'm going to like perform whatever behavior I think is going to accomplish that. And like sometimes I can do that. And so like I think that's what's kind of dangerous. It's like my ability to read and manipulate but it's very controlling and toxic. And
What are you wanting people like what are you wanting people's reactions to be? Just something that doesn't trigger your like sense of safety, like whatever that might
yeah.
be in the current situation.
Something that doesn't feel like it's threatening to me.
So maybe not like we don't like big emotions. We don't like people going off and doing their own thing and not thinking about other people, things like that.
Yeah, or somebody, I mean, I would say like someone being mad at me, but like that sounds like kind of two-ish, but like kind of the same idea of just like I don't want like I tell my friends, I'm like if someone tells you that like they don't like me, I want you to tell me. Like I want to know. I want to know. And like and they're like, why would you want to know that? I'm like, I just do. Like, I want to know what's going on and I want to have the information because I don't want to be blindsided by it later if this person, like, like I want to know what's going on. So if somebody doesn't like me, if someone tells you they don't like me, I want you to tell me.
And I like that you use the word blindsided. It's like, this is where the information of sixes come in, right? A lot of sixes talk about themselves like they're very relational because you are. All we're talking about is feeling and what people are feeling and how it's interacting with you, right? But what you want is the information of how are you feeling and like how does that affect me and what's going on, right? Which is, like you said, this sounds like a 2 thing, but I just think there's a lot of intersection between 2 and 6. I do think that's a very 6 thing, to want to know how people are feeling. Do you think you pick up So when you listen to twos talk, like my mother, right? You know her very well, or other twos like in the cohort. When they talk about picking up people's feelings, do you relate to that
Yes.
at all? Talk
Yes.
about that.
Like your mom and I will, your mom in our last cohort, she was the only two in the group. And like something would happen in the room and like I would look at her, like we would make eye contact and like we both saw what happened.
Yeah.
Or like we'll meet, like we'll like go to the break and be like, did you pick up on that? Like were you feeling what I was feeling? You know, like or like is something off with like whoever, like what's going on with them?
Right.
Like why are they? And so maybe not as fine-tuned maybe as the two, or maybe not as like feeling, well, I don't want to describe what the two is feeling. That's for them to do, I guess, but maybe there's probably a different reaction to it. But I do think, and I don't know if ones feel the same way. Like I don't know if it's a dependent stance thing. And we're obviously doing it for different reasons. Like for me, again, it's still just like about protecting myself and like trying to anticipate what's coming next. And I think it feels like if I can read someone's emotions, that is a really good indicator of what their next action is going to be, because that's what's to me driving people to take action.
Yes. Do you pick up on people's good feelings too? Like my mom will say, if my dad's excited about something, she's excited. And I'm wondering if sixes really only pick up on people's negative emotions because it's like danger, right? Like, do you share, if someone's excited in front of you, are you equally as excited as them? Or does it not go that way?
No, I don't.
Maybe
I
that's the
can pick
difference.
up on it, but I don't feel it.
Yeah. Are you feeling their negative emotions, or are you just understanding that it's happening for them?
Yeah, the second. Yeah.
The second?
Like I'm just reading it and like then I'm having my own feelings about what they're feeling.
Right. which is like anxiety or fear or something.
I mean, sometimes it's just like gathering information and like it's neutral, but like the ones that prompt me to like do something are generally negative, anxiety. Like it's, or just like destabilizing.
Yeah. Do you ever get angry when you can't control, when things aren't going your way?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What sort of
I got a
things
lot
make
of
you
anger.
angry? Talk about that.
Well, somebody, I don't know who says it, but like says that after 8, 6 are the most likely to express their anger. Is that Joey? Yeah. And I don't think that, I think I have, I've done a lot of work, and so I don't do that as much as I used to. But like growing up and like especially like as a teenager or whatever, like I was so angry, and I've gotten off of all social media like within the last few months because everything was just making me angry. And sorry, what was your question? Does it make me angry when I can't control?
Yeah. Do you get angry because you were like, oh, I just have my own feelings about what's going on, and you were also talking about being controlling, and I know sixes struggle with anger, and so I guess my more pointed question is like, what specifically makes you angry? Like, why are you angry? And what do you, I was just talking to Jeff about anger for 8, 9s, and 1. So I'm really interested in like how it's different for sixes. Like, what do you do to get rid of that anger? What makes you feel better? Right? Is it people getting back in line? Basically. But what sort of thing makes you angry? Like, why are you getting angry?
Yeah. I mean, I get angry about like, I mean, things that make everybody angry or that I think should make everybody angry. Just like injustice and like people that seem to act with like a disregard for how it affects other people, and especially people that manipulate or people that are in positions of power that abuse that power to manipulate people. And I think a lot of times though my anxiety or my anger is just like a overflow of my anxiety about things. And you know, if something happens that I did not anticipate or like that disrupts my flow, my like schedule, my, you know, like what I've expected to be would have expected this day to be, like you have now disrupted it and thrown me off course. Right. Like I think there's an anxiety that comes from that, of just the disruption of that. And if I'm, especially if I'm like in an unhealthy place, like that can come out as anger.
So it's, I had a plan for today. I need to have a plan for today, because if I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. I don't know. And now you have interrupted the plan. You have changed the plan, and you have forced me into this position of feeling fear now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess it'll be out by the time this episode comes out, but Jeff and I just recorded a podcast on, for a Rewired show, which is where we talk about like Enneagram theory stuff. And we were talking about the centers. So we're doing deep dives into the centers. And we were talking about anger is the feeling for 8, 9s, and 1s. Anger is the feeling you get when someone takes your agency away from you, which is being able to make your own decision on your own time, right? Uninfluenced. 8, 9s, and 1s are all very concerned with wanting to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, uninfluenced by anybody or anything, right? And when that is taken away from them, either by the external world, or for like a 1, like what they feel like they should do, right? They get angry and they get resentful and all the things. And what I'm hearing here, I mean, you just said it, so I'm just re-saying what you just said. But the anger comes second. Like for 8, 9s, and 1s, anger doesn't come second. It's the first thing that happens. Whereas the first 6, even if you might not recognize it, what happened first was that someone threw you into a space where now you feel afraid, and that has made you angry. But that's different than the anger being the first thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are probably situations where anger just like comes up first. Like maybe that, like somebody just like really, cuts me off, or like says something rude, or, whatever.
Yeah. Like a normal, I think, human anger thing.
Right. But I think like the bigger things of anger and resentment, and like the deeper version of that, I do think stems from fear and anxiety in some way, like one way or another.
So I heard you, I'm going to change the subject a little bit, sort of. I just heard you say, when people, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so feel free to say it again. You get angry when people aren't like taking care of each other. Someone's taking advantage of somebody else, right? Somebody in power is taking advantage of somebody else, or all these things. Do you hold a belief that humans just in general we have an obligation to take care of each other? It is your job to take care of somebody, of the people around you. Do you think that's like a belief that you hold?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if this is just like a semantic difference, but like between like take care and just like care for, like just to care for, or to like care about people.
What's
like,
the difference?
Like it's just less to me about like I've got to like go actively like go to someone's home and like take care of them, versus just like being aware that like other people exist and like are having a different experience than I'm having, and like I should be considerate of like other people's perspectives and opinions when like making decisions,
Yeah, I'm laughing and I'm smirking because I wanted to bring this up because like you are my security number, right? And for the longest time I was like, what the hell do I need to get from sex? Like, I don't need anything from sex. Or, it was very simple. It was like, oh, I should be more community minded, blah, blah, blah. Or I should like think about other people. But what you just said and the way you said it, it's not taking care of other people, which is honestly even better I wish it was, because then I still get to do what I'm doing, and I'll also take care of you. But to the 6 posture of realizing that you are just one of many, and other people have full, rich lives, and they probably know more about things than you do. and like realizing that you are very rarely, if ever, the best in the room, truly. Like, I think that's what 6 offers me. You know what that makes me feel like when I think about inhabiting that space is it makes me scared because
you found 6. You're scared.
Literally. Because that means that my life is not up to me. Like I have to share it, and things can happen to me that I might not have control over, and other people can do things that I might not be able to change or like move. Like I was talking about a 9. I was talking to a 9 the other day, and he was saying, we were so opposite. He was saying he likes believing that he's not in charge of his own life, because believing that he's in charge of his own life is very scary, right? Because that means that he's the only one who can affect any change. And I said, I'm the complete opposite. If I don't believe I'm in charge of my life, that's terrifying for me, because then things can just happen. What's my question for you? First of all, do you have any thoughts about anything I just said?
Well, I'm trying to think about like what my, like if that's the 3 and that's the 9, like where do I land?
Yeah, I guess that's
that?
Where do you land?
And I don't know, like I do feel like a sense of agency, like the things I do matter and like have influence on what's happening in my life. Like my decisions do matter. I think I spent a long time like in my life thinking that like I had to make all the right decisions or like something bad would happen. And like that was a really intense pressure that brought a lot of anxiety of just like anytime I had to make a decision about, you know, where I was going to go to school or like what career I was going to have or whatever, like all of those decisions felt like life or death to me, because it was like, this is a fork in the road. And if I pick the wrong one, like something horrible is going to happen.
Yeah.
And part of like growth and maturity for me has been like, I probably could have made a lot of different decisions there and like everything probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my response to that question of like not having so much fear about making a bad decision and trying to trust, which is, you know, the virtue of 6 is faith, like trying to believe that like whichever decision I make and like wherever it leads me and whatever, like I have the ability to like be okay.
Yeah.
Which I don't actually believe.
Right.
But
right. But we can tell ourselves
But I can say that confidently. I just don't actually believe it.
I just I'm like being overtaken by this huge wave of empathy. So Joey says that 3, 7, and 8s live easiest in the illusion of control. And what I sometimes feel like is that we live easiest in the illusion of delusion, that like nothing is gonna happen. Anything, it's coming up very clearly in my wedding planning. Like I sometimes will do something probably a little too late, and my mom's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you hadn't done that before? And I'm like, well, what's gonna happen? Like, is the venue gonna cancel on us because we invited 20 more people? Like, that's not gonna, we already paid our deposit. That's not gonna happen. She's like, Katie, that absolutely could happen. Like, some venues have a max number of people. Right. Like, and to me, it's just this like delusion of like, that's not gonna happen, right? That's not gonna happen. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But I think I have to believe that, because if I actually took a break and paused and looked around and was like, holy shit, that could happen, and then I applied that to every aspect of my life, I would be terrified all the time. Is that what you're doing? Are you just...
Pretty much.
That's crazy. But that's more realistic, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like reactive types get a lot of shit. But I just feel like you guys are like the only ones being realistic about like what's going on, and like life can happen to you without you knowing, you know, or without you meaning.
It can. Yeah. Well, there's just such a, like, that is a much more realistic understanding of like what it is to be a 6 versus like the stereotype that so often gets put out of like we're preparing for the apocalypse and
Yeah.
like I'm not a doomsday prepper. I don't have like 1,000 gallons of water and like freeze-dried food or like whatever like that's the like Instagram
Yeah.
meme. And
Yes. Yeah.
and
Literally.
like what you just described of like, yeah, the what if the wedding venue cancels because like we invited too many people and
Hmm.
like it's that times like you said, like applying that to everything in your life. And it's not
That's
something
literally like my
that
heart rate is high right now.
yeah. Yes. Welcome, welcome. Come on
No, I
in.
don't like it here. Do you
uh,
get sorry, well, do you have any more thoughts before I ask my question?
well, I think like that's happening at a subconscious, like it happens without me thinking about it. If that, like, I'm not seeking out to like think about what's the worst thing that could happen. It just
Hmm.
like before I can like have a conscious process thought, like that just is in my head. And it's like, oh, yep, yeah, that could happen. And
Yeah.
like that's just happening all the time.
And I always talked about it as like, well, I don't need to think about what's going to happen because I trust my ability to pivot if it does happen, right? As a three,
Right.
which is something that I
Right.
see sixes not doing, right? Like
Right.
sometimes I'll talk a six through, well, what if that does actually happen? And then
Hmm.
it like if we actually talk about it, it would be fine. Like they have the tools to figure it out and all the things. So I've always just thought like, well, threes just they just trust themselves more, right? But I really do. What I'm realizing now is that there is a stop where I like, yes, I trust my ability to pivot, but I also very much trust that nothing that bad is going to happen because it
Hmm.
can't. Because if I believed that stuff that bad could happen, that would like destroy how I view the world and like how I work, how I walk through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to believe
Yeah.
that the venue's not going to cancel because that's not going to happen, right?
Right.
That would
Yeah.
mess everything up, and I don't live in a world where everything gets messed up for me, right?
Right.
Which is crazy. do you get? Do you ever listen to people who maybe are like 3, 7, or 8s, and do you get a sense of like you are living in delusion right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're like
Yeah.
your brother, like people you know,
Yeah.
like me, you know
Yes.
me,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, and like I also like feel it come back to me sometimes of like I'll say something I'm afraid of and then like they'll say it back to me and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right. That's crazy." So like
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. But yeah, sometimes it's like sometimes I'll say something I'm afraid of and my brother, for example, will be like, that's, that's not going to happen, like whatever. And I'm like, no, like this is
No, this actually could
a
happen.
very realistic thing that could happen.
Yeah.
And I think the more work that I have done, like I I can sometimes recognize when like a fear or something I'm anxious about is like something I have just created in my mind and like it's
Yeah.
not like it started with a little nugget of something real and like I I hamster wheel and like spiraled it into like something absurd. And sometimes I can recognize, okay, like that is absurd. Like I need to just put that down and
Right.
like stop thinking about it. And then sometimes it turns like I'll be like ruminating on something and I'll try to do that. And I'm like, no, but like this is a real thing. And like
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is like I'm not being irrational with this one, but I, you know, again, that's just like me deciding like this one's irrational, this one's rational, like, and I
Right.
don't always trust myself to know the difference. So I should end up being anxious about everything.
I'm just feeling the need to apologize to everyone listening. If you're a reactive type, so sorry that we're just not listening to you. I guess I'm loving this because I love anything about the Enneagram that makes people equal to each other. Like
Hmm.
it can't be that 3, 7, and 8s are just better at not worrying, right? Like
Right.
anything, if you think you understand something about the Enneagram and the thing you understand is that one group of people is just better than the other group, it's probably not true, right? So I
Yeah.
do love this where no, there is this con to being a 3, 7, or 8, which is like you literally are delusional sometimes about about like the reality of what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's not other people's problems that you aren't willing to like listen to what could happen, right? And other people aren't. Now I'm talking to myself. Other people aren't stupid for like believing that the world can happen to them, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry, y'all. So sorry. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you my last question. Do you have any last thoughts before I ask you my last question? Or shall we get into it?
I have like these complicated thoughts about just like sixness and how like we get, I mean, you already heard me talk about the stereotype thing of just like whatever. I think also there's something about sixes, which I don't know if I've said this while we've been recording today, but there's almost something about six that like we don't really want you to pin us down. Like I don't want you to really fully describe what a six is. And I've talked to so many sixes who are just like, none of these Enneagram teachers really get me, and like they don't really describe. And I think that's something about six is like we don't really want to be pinned down of like this is exactly what a six is. And I think we are like full of contradiction. Like we get described as being fearful, and like I think sixes are actually like really brave to like to experience the fear that we've just talked about, and then to like still wake up and like walk out into the world, you know?
Yeah.
But then like if someone describes me as being brave, I'm like, no, I'm not brave. I'm terrified. You know, like it's just like a constant contradiction of just like paradox.
Yeah.
And so I think like I'm grateful to be here. I have a lot of anxiety of just like I can't represent all sixes. Like the experience as a six is so complicated, and like I can't sum it all up. And it's like, well, you know, this is my experience of a six, and like someone else's experience of that might be different. But the more that we just like talk about it and have conversations like this, I think we can all like come to understand each other better. And I love the Enneagram, and I love your podcast, and I love your work, and I'm just grateful to be here and represent for the sixes.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you one question about that. The beginning of that, I want you to pin me down. I don't want you to know everything about me that you're saying sixes have. That sounds a little 4-ish to me, right? I don't actually want to be known.
Yeah.
So where does that come? Like, why not?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Aren't you looking for security and other people and safety and all the things? Why not be known?
I think it's really vulnerable, which I do want people to I want people to see me and know me. Like I really do want that. But I think there's I don't know if I can put my finger on it. I think there's just something, and I've heard it from so many sixes that it's just like I
agree with you.
We want to be like we want to claim like we're the most complicated number on the Enneagram, and like we want to claim that and own it, and we're like, oh, we've got this phobic counterphobic thing, like it's so nuanced, like nobody else understands.
You guys don't get it.
You know, like which like it and it does sound 4-ish of just like y'all wouldn't understand, like we're doing our own thing over here. But it's also maybe what's different than 4 is it's like it's a we thing. It's like we as sixes are like whereas 4 it's like no, it's me. Like
I love that distinction. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I like that you said it's vulnerable, like it's scary, because I hear fear there.
It is scary.
I hear that. I still hear the fear of you know, if I give people this information, what are they going to do with it, right? Or like what am I giving away about myself?
Right. I was talking to another 6 earlier today, and he was talking about how because we're both 6s, he was in Suzanne's cohort last year, and so we have like a lot of the same language to just talk Enneagram stuff. And he was talking about how vulnerable it feels even just that he and I talking, because like we can't hide anything from each other because like we know, we know, you know?
Yes.
And like that's kind of exposing and vulnerable too.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad.
It's
like,
good and bad.
You want to be seen and known, but like having someone that can see and know you like is kind of scary. As I tell the 3.
Yeah, right. No, yeah. That's actually a great point. Yes, I do. I understand. It's horrible. It's like the whole time you're just like, do you still, well, this is very 3, but like, do you still like me? Are you sure? Have you seen it? Have you seen it yet? The Thing, right? Do you still like me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to ask you my last question. How old are you? I forgot to ask.
31.
Okay, you're 31. So we're going to go back 10 years. You're 21. You're in a room with your 21-year-old self. What do you tell him?
Gosh, I knew you were going to ask me this question. And I've been thinking about it. And I'm like, well, we don't have time. Like, I have so many things that I need to tell him. And so then I like boiled down to like what is the thing that I needed to hear the most? And like, it was probably just everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking about then I was thinking about, okay, how would 21-year-old me have received that? And like, the truth is like, I wouldn't have trusted it, you know? Like, what do you know?
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I know you've been there and like literally did all of it, but like, what do you know?
I know you're literally me, but like, I don't really believe you. Like, I would be so like nice and like, just like holding my hand and be like,
yes,
I know you're so anxious, but like everything's gonna be fine. And then 21-year-old me would be like, yeah.
Get off. Yeah.
Shut up.
Same.
I don't have anything helpful to say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is not helping me. Got it. I'll just stop worrying. Got it. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah, I'll just flip that switch. Thanks so much.
I know.
Go back to the future, okay?
That's how I feel too. Like anything I would have told. So 10 years ago for me, I was 17. Anything I would have told myself at 17, like would it have helped? Probably not, you know, because you just kind of have to learn it. But it's interesting to think about anyway.
It is. I don't know what I could say. Like, I do think that is the thing that I needed to hear is like, everything's going to be okay. Cause like, I really didn't think it would, but even, I don't know. I don't know that I would have been able to receive it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ben, for being here. It was lovely to catch up with you. You're the best.
Same. It was so good to see you, and I miss you, and tell your mom I said hey.
I will. Mwah.
Hey friends, it's Jeff. We're getting to interview some of the most intriguing people in the Enneagram world. There are already 20 plus interviews up at aroundthecircle.org, and we're continuing to add more. That site is where we're gathering and platforming all of our best work. Much of it is available for free. Katie Whitlock and I have been doing deep studies working through wings, stance, fear, anger, and shame in our Rewired series. I'm beginning to release chapters from my next Enneagram book, which I'm calling The Steps, for early review for your consideration. And we have monthly online workshops in which 30 or so folks gather to talk about their type. There's audiobooks, there's videos, there's lots of fun stuff, lots to like. Go to aroundthecircle.org, and may all good things be yours.